The most dangerous predators don't announce themselves. They walk into your life wearing smiles, speaking your language, understanding your needs better than you understand them yourself. They study you like a chess master studies the board, calculating moves 3 steps ahead while you're still trying to figure out if you're even playing a game. Niccolò Machiavelli lived in an era when survival depended on reading people correctly. One wrong judgment about someone's character could cost you your fortune, your family, or your life. In Renaissance Italy, courts were filled with brilliant minds who had perfected the art of deception. Machiavelli observed them all. He watched how they operated, how they gained trust, how they extracted information, and how they ultimately destroyed those who trusted them. The Prince wasn't written as a guide to evil. It was written as a survival manual for a world where the naive die young and the trusting die poor. Machiavelli understood something that most people today refuse to acknowledge. There are individuals who view other human beings as resources to be exploited, not souls to be respected. These people have refined their methods over centuries. They've learned to hide their intentions behind questions that sound innocent, even caring. They've discovered that the best way to disarm someone is to make them feel understood, special, chosen. And they do this through carefully crafted inquiries that serve as psychological crowbars, prying open your defenses, one question at a time. But here's what they don't want you to know. Every manipulator follows the same playbook. They ask variations of the same 5 questions because these questions work. They work on the young and the old, the educated and the simple, the wealthy and the struggling. They work because they target fundamental human needs that exist in all of us. Understanding these questions isn't about becoming paranoid or suspicious of everyone you meet. It's about developing the wisdom to distinguish between genuine interest and predatory behavior. It's about protecting your energy, your resources, and your peace of mind from those who would consume them without offering anything real in return. The first question sounds like the foundation of every healthy relationship. But in the mouth of a manipulator, it becomes a weapon of mass psychological destruction. Do you trust me completely? Trust is currency. In the economy of human relationships, trust is more valuable than money because money can be replaced. Trust, once broken, becomes nearly impossible to restore. Manipulators understand this better than anyone. They know that if they can get you to hand over your trust quickly, they can make withdrawals against that trust for months or years before you realize your account has been emptied. Machiavelli observed Alexander VI, one of history's most notorious papal figures who never did anything else, never thought about anything else, except deceiving people, and he always found material to work on. Alexander understood that people want to trust. They want to believe in goodness, in honesty, in the possibility that someone truly cares about their well-being. The demand for immediate, complete trust is like someone asking you to co-sign a loan without showing you what they plan to buy. It's a request for blind faith in an uncertain world. The person making this request knows that trust should be earned gradually through consistent behavior over time. They know that asking for it upfront is unreasonable. But they ask anyway because they need your defenses down before you have time to observe their true character. Real trust develops organically. It grows through small acts of reliability. Someone says they'll call you at 3, and they call at 3. They promise to keep a confidence, and they keep it. They offer help during a difficult time, and they follow through. Trust accumulates through hundreds of tiny demonstrations of integrity, not through a single request for faith. When someone bypasses this natural process and demands immediate trust, they're revealing their timeline. They're operating under urgency. They need your faith now because they plan to do things that will damage that faith later. They're asking for trust today because they know that tomorrow, if you're paying attention, you won't give it freely. The psychological pressure that comes with this question is intense. When someone asks for your complete trust, they're also implying that refusing makes you paranoid, damaged, or incapable of healthy relationships. They're suggesting that your natural caution is a character flaw rather than a survival instinct. But here's the truth that manipulators don't want you to understand. Healthy people don't need to ask for trust because they're content to earn it. They understand that trust is a gift that becomes more meaningful when it's given freely, after careful observation and positive experience. The second question appears to come from genuine care and interest in your happiness, but it's actually a reconnaissance mission designed to map your vulnerabilities. What do you want most in life? Every skilled manipulator is also a skilled psychologist. They understand that people are motivated by desire and driven by fear. They know that if they can identify what you want most desperately, they can position themselves as the key to getting it. And if they can identify what you fear most deeply, they can position themselves as your protection from it. This question isn't asked out of curiosity about your dreams. It's asked to identify your psychological pressure points. The manipulator is looking for the desires that are so strong you might compromise your judgment to achieve them. They're searching for the dreams that are so important to you that you take unnecessary risks to make them real. Machiavelli wrote extensively about how successful rulers studied the desires of their subjects. They understood that men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. This means people are easily influenced by what appears to satisfy their desires, even when the reality doesn't match the appearance. When you tell someone what you want most in life, you're giving them the blueprint for your seduction. You're showing them exactly what bait to use to catch you. You're revealing which promises will make you ignore red flags, which opportunities will make you abandon caution, which dreams will make you trust too quickly. Consider how many financial scams work on this principle. The scammer doesn't start by asking for money. They start by asking about your dreams. They want to know about your desire for financial security, your worry about retirement, your hope for your children's future. Then they craft their pitch to align perfectly with those desires. They show you exactly what you want to see because you've told them exactly what you want to see. The same principle applies to emotional manipulation. The person who wants to control you needs to understand what you're hungry for emotionally. Are you lonely and craving connection? Are you insecure and seeking validation? Are you overwhelmed and desperately needing support? Once they understand your emotional appetite, they can become exactly what you're hungry for. This is why the question feels so good when it's asked. Someone is showing interest in your inner world, your hopes, your aspirations. They're making you feel seen and understood. But genuine interest in your dreams comes with reciprocity. A person who truly cares about your desires will share their own. They'll create mutual vulnerability, not one-sided exposure. The third question masquerades as a reasonable request for commitment, but it's actually a demand for unconditional surrender. Are you loyal to me no matter what? Loyalty is one of the most beautiful human qualities. It's the bond that holds relationships together through difficult times. It's the commitment that says, I'm here for you when the world gets dark. But like all beautiful things, loyalty can be corrupted and weaponized. Unconditional loyalty is what you give to your children, not what you give to people who have to ask for it. When an adult asks for your loyalty, no matter what, they're asking you to agree to support them, even when they're wrong, even when they hurt you, even when they violate your values. Machiavelli spent considerable time analyzing whether it's better for a leader to be loved or feared. His conclusion was pragmatic and disturbing. It is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is preserved by the link of obligation, which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment, which never fails. The person demanding unconditional loyalty is revealing their understanding of this principle. They're not interested in earning your respect or maintaining your affection through good behavior. They want to establish control through obligation. They want you to feel that leaving or questioning them would make you a bad person. This demand often comes wrapped in emotional manipulation. They might say things like, "After everything I've done for you," or "I thought you were different," or "I guess I can't count on anyone." They're using your natural empathy and sense of fairness against you. They're making you feel that questioning their behavior makes you ungrateful or disloyal. But healthy relationships don't require blind loyalty. They're built on mutual respect, shared values, and the understanding that both people remain individuals with their own moral compass. In a healthy relationship, loyalty is earned daily through kind behavior, honest communication, and respect for boundaries. True loyalty is conditional. It's conditioned on the other person's continued worthiness of that loyalty. When someone asks for loyalty, no matter what, they're telling you they plan to do things that would normally forfeit your loyalty. They're asking for a commitment that will protect them when they hurt you. The fourth question seems to be about understanding your values, but it's actually about determining how much deception you'll tolerate. Do you care about appearances more than truth? Manipulators are masters of image management. They understand that most people make judgments based on surface impressions rather than deep investigation. They know that humans are impressed by status symbols, social proof, and carefully crafted presentations. They need to know whether you're the type of person who can be fooled by a good performance or whether you're someone who digs deeper. This question helps them calibrate their approach. If you care more about appearances, they'll invest heavily in creating an impressive image. They'll make sure you see their best side, their achievements, their social connections. They'll surround themselves with the symbols of success and respectability. Machiavelli observed this phenomenon in the rulers of his time. He noted that successful leaders must know how to color his nature well and to be a great pretender and dissembler. This wasn't advice for moral behavior. It was an observation about how power actually operates in the real world. Ferdinand of Aragon was Machiavelli's example of this principle in action. Ferdinand accomplished great things under the cloak of religion, but in fact he had no mercy, faith, humanity, or integrity. Ferdinand understood that people judge by appearances, not by hidden motives. So he crafted a public image that would get him what he wanted, while concealing his true nature. When someone tests your relationship with truth versus image, they're conducting market research. They're determining which version of themselves to present to you. If you're impressed by status and appearance, they'll become the most impressive person you've ever met. If you value authenticity and truth, they'll either move on to easier targets or work much harder to deceive you. The most dangerous manipulators often come in the most attractive packages. They have impressive credentials, compelling stories, and social connections that make you feel honored to be chosen by them. They understand that humans are naturally impressed by success, status, and the appearance of having life figured out. But here's what they're really testing. They want to know if you're someone who will accept inconsistencies between their words and actions, as long as the overall package looks good. They want to know if you'll overlook small betrayals, as long as they maintain an impressive facade. People of genuine integrity don't need to test your tolerance for deception because they don't plan to deceive you. They don't care whether you value appearances over truth because they plan to give you both truth and substance. The fifth question sounds like enthusiastic interest in your thoughts and opinions, but it's actually a comprehensive intelligence-gathering operation. What's your opinion on everything? Information is the ultimate currency in the manipulation economy. The more a manipulator knows about your thoughts, beliefs, fears, and opinions, the more precisely they can tailor their approach to control you. They want to understand your political views so they can either agree with you or position themselves as an enlightened alternative. They want to know your spiritual beliefs so they can either share them or respect them in just the right way. This question creates a dangerous imbalance in the relationship. You're sharing everything. They're sharing nothing. You're opening your mind and heart. They're keeping theirs carefully protected. You're creating vulnerability and intimacy. They're gathering intelligence. Machiavelli warned specifically about this dynamic. He noted that men are so self-complacent in their own affairs and in a way so deceived in them that they are preserved with difficulty from this pest. He understood that people love to talk about themselves, love to feel heard and understood, love to believe that someone is genuinely fascinated by their thoughts and opinions. The person asking for all your opinions is building a comprehensive psychological profile. They want to understand your values so they can mirror them back to you when it serves their purposes. They want to know your fears so they can either promise to protect you from them or subtly threaten you with them. They want to understand your worldview so they can position themselves as either your perfect ally or your wise guide. This information gathering serves multiple purposes. First, it helps them understand how to present themselves to you. If you're religious, they'll suddenly become very spiritual. If you're skeptical of authority, they'll position themselves as a fellow rebel. If you're concerned about social justice, they'll become passionate about the same causes. Second, it helps them understand your triggers and boundaries. They learn what topics make you emotional, what issues you feel strongly about, what subjects you avoid. This knowledge becomes a roadmap for manipulation. They know exactly which buttons to push to get you angry, sad, excited, or afraid. Third, it helps them identify your support systems and potential threats to their influence. They want to know who else has your ear, who you trust for advice, who might interfere with their plans. They're mapping your entire social and emotional ecosystem so they can either co-opt it or isolate you from it. But perhaps most importantly, this constant sharing creates a false sense of intimacy. Because you've told them so much about yourself, you feel like they know you deeply. You start to believe that this level of sharing must mean you have a special connection. You begin to trust them, not because of their behavior, but because of your own vulnerability. Real conversations have reciprocity. Both people share. Both people reveal something of themselves. Both people take turns being interested and interesting. When someone's only role is to extract information from you while remaining a mystery themselves, they're not building a relationship, they're conducting surveillance. These 5 questions form the foundation of every manipulator's strategy. They're designed to break down your natural defenses, gather intelligence about your vulnerabilities, secure your commitment before you understand what you're committing to, test your tolerance for deception, and create false intimacy through one-sided sharing. Understanding these patterns isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious of everyone you meet. It's about developing the wisdom to recognize genuine connection from sophisticated manipulation. It's about protecting your energy and resources for people who deserve them. Machiavelli's insights remain relevant 5 centuries later because human nature hasn't changed. The tools of manipulation have become more sophisticated, but the underlying psychology remains the same. People still want to trust, to be understood, to belong, to matter. And there are still those who would exploit these beautiful human desires for their own gain. The strongest defense against manipulation is awareness combined with patience. When you understand what manipulators are looking for and how they operate, you can't be caught off guard. When you take time to observe behavior rather than just listening to words, you can distinguish between genuine care and skillful performance. Real relationships develop slowly. Trust is earned gradually through consistent behavior. Information is shared reciprocally. Loyalty grows from mutual respect and shared positive experiences. Appearances align with substance. Questions come from genuine curiosity, not hidden agendas. The people who deserve your time, trust, and loyalty won't demand these things immediately. They'll earn them patiently. They won't need to test your boundaries because they plan to respect them. They won't need to gather intelligence about your vulnerabilities because they don't plan to exploit them. Your time, energy, trust, and attention are precious resources. You've worked hard for the wisdom you possess, the stability you've created, the peace you've found. Don't let charming strangers convince you to hand these treasures over without proof of their worthiness. The world needs people who can see clearly, think critically, and protect themselves wisely. When you're strong enough to resist manipulation, you're free enough to form authentic connections with people who truly deserve your gifts. And that's when relationships become a source of genuine joy rather than subtle drain.